It's raining. Not a light drizzle. A cold, relentless downpour, and the sun is about to set. You have no roof, no walls, no fire. Just wet skin, dropping body temperature, and a forest full of things that hunt at night.
You have maybe 20 minutes before hypothermia starts making decisions for you. So what do? For nearly 2 million years, this wasn't a hypothetical.
It was every human's first problem to solve, every single day, in every new place they moved to. Before fire, before tools, before language, shelter was the first technology. And the story of how we solved it is a story of getting smarter, one desperate night at a time. Let's start with the easiest solution. Don't build anything. Just find it. At Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found evidence that early humans were using natural rock shelters over 1 million years ago. No construction required, just a roof the earth already made. A cave blocks wind, blocks rain, and blocks a predator's approach to one direction instead of 360. That's not nothing. That's the difference between dying and not dying. But a cave alone doesn't keep you warm. Cold stone pulls heat out of a body just as fast as open air does. So even inside a rock shelter, early humans needed a second layer of defense: bedding. At sites across Europe, researchers have found traces of ash and plant matter arranged in thick layers on cave floors, evidence of grass, leaves, and bark laid down as insulation between the body and the freezing ground. It sounds simple. It wasn't optional. Without it, a cave was just a slightly drier place to die of cold. Caves and overhangs aren't everywhere, though. Move on to open grassland or desert, and there's no rock waiting for you.
So humans did the next best thing. They carried a solution with them.
At Terra Amata in France, archaeologists uncovered evidence of oval huts dating back roughly 400,000 years. Simple frameworks of branches, driven into the ground and bent inward, then covered with hides or bark. It wasn't permanent.
It wasn't pretty, but it worked, and it could be built again tomorrow, somewhere else. Inside, researchers even found evidence of a central hearth, meaning the shelter and the fire were designed together from the very beginning, not added later. Here's the part that surprises people. This wasn't a one-time invention. Every time humans moved into a new environment, the shelter problem got solved differently based on what was actually available. Head into open desert, and the danger isn't cold, it's the sun.
In arid regions of Africa and the Middle East, evidence of simple lean-to windbreaks made from brush shows a completely different design goal, not trapping heat, but creating shade and blocking dust-laden wind, while still allowing airflow to cool the body.
Same problem. Survive the environment. Completely different engineering answer. Then there's the environment with almost nothing to build from at all. In freezing tundra, with no trees for branches, what do you use?
At Mezhirich in Ukraine, archaeologists found something remarkable: the remains of shelters built almost entirely from mammoth bones. Massive skulls stacked as a foundation, long bones layered as a frame, the whole structure likely covered in hide. This wasn't primitive guesswork. Building a mammoth bone shelter meant knowing exactly which bones locked together, which ones bore weight, and how to make the structure stand through an ice age winter. That's engineering, done with the only material the landscape provided. And once shelter stopped being a nightly emergency and started being reliable, everything else changed.
A dry, wind-blocked space meant a fire could be kept burning through the night instead of just surviving until dawn. It meant food could be stored without rotting in the rain. It meant there was finally a still, protected place to teach a child how to nap a stone tool without wind blowing grit into their eyes, or to sit with an injured or elderly person who couldn't keep moving with the group. Shelter didn't just protect the body. It created the stillness that everything else, tools, care, teaching, rest, was built on top of. Shelter also stopped being a single, fixed idea. As humans spread across different seasons and landscapes, many groups didn't rely on just one shelter type. They switched.
A summer camp near a river might use light, quickly built branch shelters, abandoned after a few weeks when the group moved to follow migrating animals. A winter camp in the same region might use a deeper, more insulated structure, dug partially into the earth to use the ground itself as a wind barrier. The best. Shelter was never one fixed design. It was whatever matched the season and the materials at hand, which meant early humans were constantly redesigning their most basic technology just to keep up with the calendar. By the time humans reached Dolní Věstonice, in what's now the Czech Republic, roughly 26,000 years ago, shelters weren't just single huts anymore. Archaeologists found evidence of a small cluster of dwellings, arranged together, with a shared kiln structure nearby used for firing clay figurines, some of the earliest ceramic objects ever made. Shelter had gone from "keep me alive tonight" to "this is where our people live, and this is where we make things that aren't just for surviving. That's not shelter anymore. That's a settlement, with a floor plan, a shared purpose, and a place set aside for something other than staying alive. So back to that cold night in the rain. You're not choosing between a cave and nothing. You're standing on the far end of a chain of solutions that took nearly 2 million years to build. A chain that started with someone crawling under a rock overhang because it was better than nothing, ran through branch huts with hearths built in, sun-shading windbreaks in the desert, and structures engineered from mammoth bone, and ended with clustered dwellings arranged into the first villages. Every wall you've ever stood inside, every roof that's kept the rain off your head without you thinking about it twice, exists because someone, somewhere, in every corner of the planet was cold, exposed, and refused to just accept it.